What's going on, guys? GrimDM back here again. As you know, I was very excited with the Grenadier Dwarves that I recently purchased, and the guy that I purchased them had another auction going. I just decided to chuck in a bid, and I won. So I have received basically a fully lead or pewter. Some of the minis are old, so it could be lead. Ral Partha Dwarven Army, essentially. So I think the count is around the 110 minis, which is like super awesome. Very excited. So rather than waffle on too much, I'm going to get into it and show you what I managed to pick up. So let me just flick this across here. I hope this bloody worked. Okay, so first, sorry, this photo's a bit blurry. I'm not going to go back and take him again. So there were, when I won the auction, there were a couple of minis in here he thought were anywhere gone. So he sent me a bunch of these Grenadier Dwarves to make up for it. So these are the Grenadier Dwarves, 6 of them to replace the 2. So I'm going to problem with that. Axemen with shields. So he individually numbered the bags, which is super cool. So I'm going to be able to look up these miniatures and get a bit more information on them. I've seen a range of dates, most early 80s. I did see one of them was 79, the year I was born, so can't go wrong with that. So here we go, RP21. This is first off, so I'm just taking a photo of a single one of the miniatures. Some of them there's only 1 or 2, and other there's like a dozen. I think the crossbowmen, I think I've got like 18 of them. But anyway, the photos gradually improve. I was fiddling, trying to take better pictures of these. So you'll see that these are quite almost petite, you would say. So I did take a picture next to the Grenadier Dwarf of how this Ral Partha model is now. Been a long time since I've held a Ral Partha mini in my hand. Almost the same height, I guess, as a dwarf, but a lot skinnier, not quite as stout. But so there probably is a scale difference. It might annoy some people when they're on the table. Honestly, I don't care. It is what it is, and I'm still quite happy with them. So that's those little fellas there. Now we're on to RP20. Well, you can see here this bag's got like a whole stack of them in. And there's these guys here. Now, I'm going to have to look into this a bit better. It seemed a bit funny shaped here, and I wasn't quite sure whether there was something that with this slot was meant to glue on, or whether this is some sort of pike, or it's like they're pulling a sword out, reverse drawing, or whatever you call it. But I don't know. They still look super cool. So there's that little fella there. So RP10, I think there might have only been one of these. So these sculpts are quite cool too. I do like the extra little bit of detail here, like on the axe and so forth. The flash is still there. Most of these minis still have flashed on them. They've never, vast majority have never been painted. I think this is one of the older sculpts too. This might even be the one that was from 79, but I think that looks cool. It's a very dwarf pose. Jeez, it took me a while to drag that one out of the memory bank, but yeah, very dwarven pose, but I think it looks quite cool. So here we are, RP18. So these are dwarven axemen with shield. Again, a much older sculpt, and they show their age. The sculpts definitely weren't as great as they are now with all the different modeling techniques, and you know, now they just do it digitally. But these are still going to look super cool painted up and on the tabletop, and that's what I'm going to do. I am going to paint this entire dwarven army, so I'm going to basically do a video series on that. So I want to paint them up, base them. They're going on the round 25mm Warhammer bases, but it might look a little bit funny with the Ral Partha size, but I'm going to do it anyway. It'll still look cool, and I'm going to make some movement trays, you know, that accept the round bases, so I can chuck these guys in and send them on their merry way. So here we go, RP20. Axemen, more Axemen, they're dwarves, what can you say? Again, very dwarven sort of thing. It almost double as a man if it wasn't for the scale. The beard's not quite as long, but I think anyone looks at that is going to be dwarf. And I think it looks cool. They're almost that sort of heroic scale when you look at the bigger hands and that kind of thing, but they look awesome. RP9. So there was a bunch of these guys too. A little bit more detail on these sculpts again, along details on the axe. The little detail on the helmet there you can see in that area there. Shield on the back, very, very cool. Very Viking-like, very Norse-like, which I'm a huge fan of. Very chunky base, as you can see. You could remove them from the base, but obviously underneath the base it has like the manufacturer Ral Partha and the model, so I'm not going to do that. They are going to get glued to plastic, so those markings will probably never see the light of day. But I've got all these photos. I'm going to keep them to sort of catalogue the miniatures I've got. Some might say it's a bit of a sacrilege gluing them, but I swear that I'm never selling any miniatures and stuff again. Like, I will die, these will go to my kids and they'll do whatever they want with them. Maybe they should bury me with some of them, but it might make the coffin pretty bloody heavy to carry. RP17, so there was two of these guys, dwarf musicians, trumpeters, very cool sort of horns. Nice skull on top of this, and I guess this is like a dragon looking horn. I think they're quite cool. Pardon me for that. On to the next one, RP19. Some more dwarven axemen with capes. So obviously you can make, there's going to be rank and file axemen, and then much like, sort of Warhammer, have elite troops, and we don't have any of the bare-chested sort of slayers that they do from Warhammer, but again, I think these look pretty cool, and they're going to look great painted up for sure. Number 14. This one was a bit hard to catch a good picture of because of where the hands are and the camera kept focusing, so I know it looks a little bit rough. I think when I actually get around to painting these individually, I'll for the unit, I'll try to make a bit better of a photo, and when you're back and it's a group photo, it's going to look heaps cooler. But there was a few of those guys in there. RP13. So a couple of the units were painted pretty poorly, as you can see, but hey, these were probably painted back when they were new, so I don't begrudge it anyway. So I've got some paint stripping to do for a few of these. With the paint, you can sort of see more detail with the creases in the boots, and looks like they tried to sculpt a little bit of wood grain into the handle of the halberd. So yeah, I think they look cool. We will not be having yellow and orange like that, or denim pants. RP12. So these are the next guys. So I quite like the look of these minis. And the helmet shape reminds me of the Chaos Dwarves from Warhammer from back, if you played Warhammer Fantasy back as that far. They were always an army that I always wanted to get, but it was always very scarce on the ground, and the bull tours and were always like snapped up quickly. You can see that he's sitting there with his hand out, but in the bag. So there was more than this in here. These are the three different examples. So I've got swords, axes of various shapes. So we've got the big like two-handed axe or twin-bladed axe, whatever you want to call it. These are more the sort of hatchet, battle axe-y type things, and the swords. So that's super cool. So having them still on their casting sprue I think is pretty cool. RP15. So there was only one of these guys, I believe, and this looks like a very, very old sculpt too. Horns have probably seen better days, but I haven't really played with, they're old. Some cases miniatures don't get taken care of, so things get bent out of shape, but I kind of like the angles that they're at. It looks like that they've just like whacked actual bone on. So I'm going to be going back and looking up these miniatures as they appear in the catalogue and see what this is like. If they were originally nice and straight, I mean, they're never going to get nice and straight or curve upwards in a nice fashion. I'll have a look at it. I would rather leave it where it is and keep that sort of nailed bone look than try to straighten it out and then break it off. You can glue it back on, but I'd rather not do that in the first place. P16, so this was a single guy by himself, so another musician, and it's a drummer, which I think looks pretty cool too. I think they're bones that they're using for the drumsticks. That's how I tend to paint them anyway. Again, the features can be a little hard to mark out, so you can see where my mouse cursor is. There's his bloody snout there, and he's got like the big AB prison looking mustache. So yeah, that's good. So I've got two trumpeters, horn blowers, buglers, whatever you want to call them, and then a drummer. So I do always like that on Warhammer, having like the champion and the musician and the standard bearer kind of thing. So here I can put a musician in 3 different units. P6. So I've got a whole bunch of these as well. Crossbowmen, again, they've got that more sort of chaosy dwarf helmet. I really, really like these models. I think they look super duper cool. And, so far it's been nothing but, or plenty of axemen and that kind of thing. So it's good to have a little bit of ranged weaponry. Of course, dwarves make great crossbows. So I think they're cool, and there's a whole bunch of them. Again, big chunky base. I could base that, but you know what? I'm not want to have some on plastic bases and some aren't. I'm just going to put it all, and when I start crafting some dungeon tiles and stuff, I'll be running off basically like a 25mm or an inch square grid for measurements and stuff. So I want one of these to fit within one of those squares. P5. Now, this is the first thing I was very excited about. So here we've got 3 guys together in a unit. You see this guy is carrying a big rock. This old mate here's got a length of rope. And this guy looks like he's supervising the action. So nice little party there. And that's because they man this. So I think this is awesome. Very, very cool. I'm not quite sure how it assembles, nor am I entirely sure whether every single piece is here. Like, I imagine it just tilts up, obviously the way a catapult does, and it has these legs to give it that angle. And I believe this beam comes in at this end, but again, I will look the model up in the catalogue. It shows it put together. But I think this is cool. It's very, very cool to have a piece of artillery. I haven't had anything like this for years and years and years since I played Warhammer. And everything's plastic now. There was just something always cool about the metal kits. Cool, thanks for that email, buddy. And last one, we got another gun crew. I think we all recognise the shape of this. What this means, what a stick with a torch on the end of it means. And that's a cannon. So here we've got a cannon. We've got 2 of these like large mounted crossbows. Now, unfortunately, there is only 1 wheel for the cannon. I did message the guy that I bought them off. He's very apologetic, but he said if there's no wheel there, if there's only 1 wheel there, that's it. He's already been through his stuff and he has seen no other wheels. So unfortunately, I am short a wheel. It's not a big drama because I can always keep that wheel to the side, and that's probably what I'll do. I'll keep that one to the side and fashion a couple of temporary ones that aren't permanently affixed, just enough to do the job. and keep an eye out until I can get another one of those wheels and then mount the proper Ral Partha things on so it's all original. That's what I would like to do. Yeah, so I think that has been a very great pickup for me. I'm very, very happy with the amount of models. I mean, over 100 of them, basically over 100, and then I already have those 11 spearmen. I don't think I need to buy any more dwarves ever. That will cover it all. I mean, if I see something cool, what am I even saying? If we see something cool for the right price, we're always going to get it. So that is my Ral Partha haul. Like, I'm basically a dwarf lord now. Like, get behind it. So there will be a video series as I move through. Hopefully this weekend I will start to paint these dwarves and base them. I've got flock coming. Well, I've had some flock arrive. I've never used a static grass applicator, but I do have one of the... I mean, they're not hard. I've just never used one. I've never really used static grass flock before, so I've got a bag of 2mm stuff, and this applicator comes with 4 bags of 4mm, so I'm probably going to make a little blend together myself. So I'll be painting, basing, all those sorts of things, constructing movement trays, and so forth. So tune in for that. If you have any questions about these miniatures, I'll do my best to answer them. They're old, they're vintage. I don't know what the demand is like for them, and honestly, I don't care as far as like how much they're worth. I'm just very, very stoked, and I did talk to the seller, and he said he's going to have some more stuff coming up for sale soon. So I'm going to keep a lookout for that because I definitely want to get more. As I've alluded to, I want to do the actual AD&D battle system for 2nd edition. I actually have some battles with that, so I need to find something else. Obviously, I can split these up and have a bit of dwarf on dwarf crime, as it were, but you know, it'd be good to have some green skins to clobber around the battlefield too. But yeah, I want to just, when the opportunity arises, and you know, to keep things varied and interest, like if you just keep buying rulebook, it kind of gets boring. So you know, I sort of work it out. Like I'll get some, you know, I'll pick up a rule book and pick up some minis or some more modelling supplies or more stuff for table and all those kinds of things. And you know, I really want to sort of. You got to keep yourself motivated. Sometimes you get burnout, especially a lot of the time I'm by myself, except for talking to like people on Discord and people, you know, the guys that comment on my videos. You know, we're in Discord every day, sort of chatting, and people are showing their projects and all that sort of stuff is cool. But I'm not going to a gaming club. I don't have people coming around to my house at the moment. I found a couple of different gaming groups where you can basically just say, yeah, I want to come along and play a game on a table, and you can also use them to run games. So I can say, well, I'm going to be here on these dates or this date or whatever. This is what I'm running, and try to get some AD&D players. Otherwise, if I want to play, I'm probably going to have to join a 5th edition game, but I would rather DM AD&D than play 5e. And I'd rather play AD&D than play 5e2. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not here to bash 5e. If people like it, honestly, it's no skin off my nose. I know what I like. They know what they like. We can just get on with it. So I've waffled on enough. Thanks very much for watching if you hung through the end. Again, any comments and questions, chuck them in. If you have any cool old vintage minis, I would love to see them. If you have videos on your channel for them, let me know. I will plug it. Not that I have a great subscriber following or a big one or whatever, but if I see something cool, I will definitely give it a follow. Thanks to all the guys that comment regularly on all my videos. It's much appreciated. Just about everyone you see that comments on my videos has awesome channels of their own, which I encourage you to go and check out. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Till then.